All right. Hey guys, welcome back to the Underground. This is Interactive Chat Volume 49, baby. Almost to the big 5-0. This is, of course, our weekly, every Thursday Solo Man podcast where we talk about everything: news, reviews, discussions, announcements, previews, everything. The Game Awards, everything. PlayStation VR2 related. What is up, guys? Hope you've been having a fantastic week. We've got a lot to talk about today, in particular. So the Gran Turismo Spec 2 update dropped recently, and basically I've disappeared off the face of the planet ever since. And I'm going to tell you all about it. Not only what I think of the Spec 2 update, but kind of the revelations that I had while playing it. And want to really share that with you today, as well as perhaps serve as a guide if you like Gran Turismo but you don't know what to do or what to aim for in the game. I think I've got some good advice that I'd like to share today on that. So can't wait to get into that. Got a couple new game announcements, some upcoming games going to break down, and yeah, man. So let's go ahead and get things started. I want to say, first and foremost, hello to Flame Hat the Game Cat, Fire, Blue Drew the Underground Game Cat Elite Name Squad in the house. This one, Chrome Colossus, Johnny Rypop the Stray Cap. Good evening. Oh, by the way, for those who've been asking about having this on an actual podcast platform like Spotify or whatever, I've got that pretty much sorted. So very, very, very soon, you can expect to be listening to this, especially, if you're playing Gran Turismo, want to have something to listen to, want to listen to some radio. I've got the radio voice for you. This is K940, the XO. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, podcast services will be restored very, very soon. So if you like to listen instead of watch, fair game to you. What is up, everybody? Good to see you. So glad to see all of you guys here. But Johnny, I got the creds, man. I got the creds for the podcast, so I'll get that over to you. Johnny Rypop, the Stray Cat's gonna be helping me out, I think. Yeah, so that'll be really cool. But guys, it is time to get into the games because we've got loads to talk about today. We're gonna kick things off with a little bit of a little tiny game that was kind of revealed to be coming to PSVR2, and that is, of course, a game by Jeff Minter. This actually, I heard about this while listening to Brian on Gamescast Live. Said that he believed they confirmed PSVR2 support for this. Now, what's the significance of this? Well, let me tell you, my friends. Jeff Minter makes really small arcade games, but they're very cool. They're visually very trippy. The sound design is usually like absolutely nuts. But this is just, I'm happy about this. I'm a big fan of Jeff Minter's games. I loved Polybius, and I even liked even his bad games are like okay, like they're not even that bad. He makes some, at worst, some average games, but they're still kind of fun to just jump in for a little bit. But this stuff in VR on PSVR 2 should look like crystal clear, should have the amazing, the resolution and the colors. The game always looked really good and colorful even on PSVR 1, but I think the bump in resolution going from that PSVR 1 to PSVR 2 should be significant here, enough to where this is going to be pretty awesome. So, and head haptics, like Chrome Colossus points out, all this. So, just a game to keep an eye on. Hopefully we hear some more about when to expect this update, when it drops. I wouldn't be surprised if it just randomly pops up one day, but I'm definitely gonna be checking out when it does, because I am definitely a fan of arcade games, classic arcade games and retro games, and these are cool in VR. And like I said, if anything, they're visually pleasing and pretty satisfying, although they're smaller titles. They're nothing, they're not like system sellers or anything, but they're good. Definitely enjoy it. That's right. Serial Killer points out, what is up, dude, that PAX East is officially March 21st to the 24th. So, all those going to the Game Cat meetup, we're still trying to raise funds. Make sure you go to the, Brian's got a GoFundMe to help support all of us going there. I know I could not really afford it without it. So I hope to see you guys there. But I should really be sharing the link, but I am shy about doing that stuff. But yeah, I hope to be there, man. I hope to be there and have a good time. I did sign up for my content creator thing to go there and whatnot. So I'm working on it. I'm gonna do whatever I can to get there for you guys. Thank you, Nick Milo, who shared it in the Discord. If you want to support all the Without Parole crew going to PAX East 2024 Game Cat meetup, you can follow this link that Nick post and donate a little bit. Any little bit helps. And we'd like to get all of us there, myself, Brian, Miles, and Wes, and do a live audience Gamescast live. So in other news, we have a game that I've been talking about quite a bit, and for good reason, I believe. I'm definitely a big believer in this one. And that is Ultrawings 2 finally popped up on the PlayStation Store today. It can now be officially wishlisted. And this one gets me really excited, guys, because I previewed this on the channel actually with using the Quest 2. And I really like this game. Now, I was a fan of the first Ultrawings, but it wasn't like, to me, like, it was good. I liked the immersive VR mechanics and stuff. Visually, it was very basic, obviously, for an early on title, indie team. But it had really fun gameplay. But this game, Ultrawings 2, is a big step up, in my opinion. It's got a similar art style, but there's a little bit more going on in the world. The world is, by the way, like each island is like 4 times bigger than the original. But this game, in my opinion, is like likely going to be the best like flight sim game that we have. I think right now all we have is Project Wingman. Ugh. And that's like 6 measly levels, doesn't even look impressive. Was really disappointing. The disappointment ends with Ultrawings 2. Now, I have been meaning to reach out and get more information on this. I probably took some notes somewhere and lost them. But I'm hoping to see all the key feature words like foveated rendering and eye tracking and haptics and headset rumble and just high frames per second native and all these things. So let's go over real quick and actually take a look at the PlayStation blog where they have the official Ultrawings 2 page. Here it is. There she blows. Now, interesting enough, so this game is basically single player, but they have 8 online players listed here. Does it say PlayStation Plus required? I would think PlayStation Plus is going to be required. It doesn't say that it is, though, but typically PlayStation Plus is required to play online versus other people. But they say Ultrawings is back and bigger than ever. Return to the skies in 6 all-new aircraft as you complete hundreds of missions across a beautifully stylized island-themed world. Motion controls. Our groundbreaking motion control system returns. Use your virtual hands to fully interact and control your aircraft. With enhanced haptics, there it is, you'll actually feel the action, only for PSVR 2. Tons of gameplay. You'll be unlocking new gameplay throughout this 40 to 60 hour game. 1 minute you'll be dogfighting enemy bogies in a World War II era warplane, and the next you'll be popping balloons with a dart pistol in ultralight. Features pilot 6 unique aircraft, including a helicopter. That's right. Using your virtual hands for incredibly immersive experience. Explore all new handcrafted islands. Each island is about 3 times larger than the ones in Ultrawings 1. The world is teeming with life. Fly during day, night, dusk, and overcast conditions. Welcome back to Ultrawings, pilot. So yeah, for those who don't know, this game is a mission-based, or it's structured with like different missions. You've got these different islands you can unlock. Those are kind of like the levels. And then each island has like a bunch of different missions for all the different aircrafts. And yeah, man, they're not joking around when they say this game has a lot of content. I'm hoping it comes out for like, you know, the $20-$30 range. I wouldn't be surprised with like $30. I think it'd be worth it, considering the amount of content you get. But I love that they mentioned, you know, there is going to be haptics and everything. That should feel really nice if they tweak it and fine tune it. That should be pretty good. But gameplay wise, this game gives you a variety of different missions from, as you can see here, flying through different hoops, little targets. This is the big thing for those that want, like myself, that have been waiting for like an Ace Combat or wish Project Wingman was actually pretty good. This game also has really, really fun combat missions. Everything from blowing up like turrets, like you can kind of see here, to different like LAVs, and there's different types of things. There's like courses where you take on drones. There's just straight up just combat missions as well that are really, really fun. And this game, I don't know if they've confirmed HOTAS support at launch, but I imagine this game will get HOTAS support. But let me just say, Ultrawings 1 had HOTAS support, and I still preferred the immersive in-game HOTAS. It's just done really, really well, and you get to mess with the throttles and the doohickeys and the buttons and all this stuff, and it feels really, really good. I actually, even with the Move controllers and their inferior tracking, I had an absolute blast and no issues playing this. So I imagine on PSVR2 it's going to be really good as well. And I like that these guys have just been taking their time, polishing it up, making sure it's good. I think they know what happens to games when they just release a crappy Quest port, or a lazy port, whatever you want to call it. And again, this game was great on Quest, so I'm not like bashing that or anything. I loved it on the Quest 2. But PlayStation is where I play most of my stuff. It's where I got my trophy lists and all that. And so I like to keep it all together if I can. But I still, even just previewing this game, yeah, I spent a good like maybe 7 to 10 hours with this on Quest. And like, man, there was a lot of stuff. Like, I just scratched the surface. So probably about 5 hours, 5 to 7 hours. And I felt like I was just scratching the surface. I did, I did check out like the Dragonfly, the helicopter, all this stuff. But this game, for all my gamer friends, which I know all of you are, you're going to like this game. Assuming it's not a disaster, that, there's not these horrible bugs, that there's not these horrible technical issues, which I don't believe there will be. Assuming everything goes as planned, this game is going to be a stellar addition to the PlayStation VR2 library. And I think knowing our player base that, really dives deep into games, likes to complete games, likes to spend lots of hours with stuff, this is going to be one for us to enjoy. And yeah, it's super fun, loads of variety. And yeah, man, like I said, just really, really excited about this one. So awesome to see it pop up on the PlayStation Store. But yeah, super, super fun game. And again, going to be probably the best flight sim game on the platform. That's my prediction. This will be the best flight sim for PlayStation VR 2. It's also got like an arcade mode too. Man, there's so much. There's everything from popping balloons with the guns, like he said, to just casually flying through rings, to these speed time trial courses, to combat stuff. There is so much stuff. And then there's, of course, free flight mode where you can just fly around and have fun. Lots of content here. and really, really good stuff, man. Love it. Love it. Super excited. I'm definitely going to be playing with the orbs here. Even if it has HOTAS support, I will probably opt for the orbs still. But yeah, would be cool if it still supports the HOTAS, like every game should. That is a flying game. All right, guys. So moving on. Tomorrow begins a Black Friday sale. This is going to be going on it's both on PlayStation Direct as well as the PlayStation Store. Actually, what I meant to lead with was that Galaxy Carts is currently on sale, I think, with PlayStation Plus for like $10, I think, I want to say, which is a great price, but hold the phone. Hold the phone. I think $10 is a great price for Galaxy Cart, especially with the addition of all the new updates, but hold your money. Hold the line. Hold. Because there is a Black Friday sale starting tomorrow that'll be going on for a week, and you probably want to see what's going to be dropping on the store first before you go out and not waste, but spend your money on Galaxy Cart. Again, solid game, okay, slightly below solid, but it's okay. Some people seem to really like it. But somebody actually pointed out on Reddit, this is user Azure Wrath, who said that they see a possibly, take this with a grain of salt, preview of what is going to be popping up, because they saw basically a sale going on in the Japan store, which obviously could vary depending on region. It could be drastically different, but this is Black Friday. This is usually where Sony likes to do a big push on digital sales. The holiday season in general, Sony usually goes nuts. That's one of the best advantages of VR being on a Sony PlayStation platform, is the discounts, man. The discounts we get on PlayStation Network are insane. Like, they will discount you to death. But hey, Azure Wrath is in the chat. What up, man? Hey, shout out to you, man. Thanks for going to the Japan store, because I don't do that anymore. I used to go and check on the Japan store and stuff, and I'm not that guy anymore. What's up, dude? Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining. But yeah, man. So we could be looking at sales for like Gran Turismo, Resident Evil Village. Of course, these are games that you should already own, no matter the price. And then there's stuff like No Man's Sky, which goes on sale constantly. It'll be interesting if Horizon Call of the Mountain goes on sale, because that is a game I think really needs to be on sale. It's a solid, okay title, but it is way too expensive for what, unless you like want to get the platinum trophy. I don't think it really offers enough content, especially if you just want to, if you're interested in only the main storyline. There's really not enough there, but stuff like Tetris Effect Connected would be cool. Synapse might go on sale again. Tale of Onogoro, that needs to be like a super deep discount, but I would love to see some Moss, some Rez, some Pistol Whip. Seventh Guest, if that pops up, that's a brand new game, so that would be really cool. And then of course Ghost Signal would be a nice little, if you can get Ghost Signal on the cheap, that's a great little pickup for really dirt cheap. That's a great game. Lots of content, lots of replay value. Even stuff like Toss, which I'm not like a huge fan of Toss, but it's a good game. Like it's okay. But I think somebody like converted, it was also Azure Wrath again, converted them by percentage, just an approximation here. Let's see, like Toss or Ghost Signal, if that ends up being like around the $13 mark, I mean, that's a great price for that. Of course, I love my Moss games, absolute must-haves. And if you're going to be spending time with family this holiday season, that is a great game to show off to your mom or grandma or just anybody, really. It's a fantastic title. I know my mom loved Moss when I showed it to her for the first time. She was like, I want to play that one. And I was like, Moss? Really? Yes, let's do this. But yeah, man, so keep your eyes peeled. Tomorrow, of course, we'll be swinging back around, and I'll be letting you know the best stuff to get as soon as I can. Yeah, Journey to Foundation has a discount. That would be nice because that game is way overpriced. I mean, you know, it's hard, man. It's hard because Journey to Foundation has a lot of. It seems like it has a lengthy amount of content, but in terms of just like it's kind of like, I don't want to compare it to VR Skater because VR Skater, it pains me to talk about VR Skater because I'm like, this is a game that everybody needs to own. But when they charge $40 for it, I'm like, this is a game that some people need to own. Some people with lots of money need to own. But yeah, man, really hoping, really looking forward to seeing what kind of discounts. I imagine there will be some discrepancies between regions, so it should be a fresh set of games on sale, which will be cool. But yeah, man. So that begins tomorrow. It's going to be going on from the 17th to the 27th to actual Black Friday. So that'll be really cool. I Want a Lot says, I would like to see Galaxy's Edge and Zombieland on sale. Yeah. Those would be good ones to grab on sale for sure. Listen, guys, there's a lot of good games on PlayStation VR2. You might not hear about it from the media, but there's a freaking boatload of really good stuff. And, you know, there's a time and place for everything. Not everybody's in the mood to play everything all the time. So like, yeah, like hopefully there's something that you're in the mood to play that gets a discount, and you should definitely check out. So we'll be revisiting that very soon, of course. But all right, guys, it is time to get into one of the headlines of today. And I want to talk about some Gran Turismo 7. Now, this update has been out for over a week, 2 weeks. I don't even know anymore, because I've basically been living in it ever since this update. But this update has been a really awesome thing, man. I said it before and I'll say it again for those say it louder for those in the back. If there's one advantage that we have to this generation of gaming where, you know, games get like patches and day one patches and updates like that, versus just being a complete, you know, this is what you get and no more thing, is that games get like updates that can drastically change the landscape of the game, no pun intended. And really, I mean, we've seen it happen a couple times now. Stuff with like No Man's Sky. I mean, that game's been being updated for 7 years now, and it's like absolutely amazing. Stuff like even Switchback, the Dark Pictures Anthology Switchback VR, got the big graphics overhaul, and then the Horde mode, which actually made me like the game now. And a slew of other things, but this one is special. This is another really special one because Gran Turismo was already a system seller. It's already a killer app for PlayStation VR2, for all of VR. It is a absolute killer app for VR, for virtual reality, and so it's nice. That's one thing that I kind of pointed this out a long time ago, was like, hey, you know, GT Sport had a horrible, embarrassing launch, and especially mostly in terms of VR. I mean, the flat screen stuff was a disaster too, but it had a much worse VR launch. But over time, they supported the heck out of the game, unlocking all the tracks, unlocking all the vehicles, and it actually made, despite being limited in modes and stuff, it actually, I got a good 20 hours out of GT Sport after they updated it, which was really nice. But all you Arc Sisters says AJ is actually playing. This is AI. I wouldn't blame you for thinking that. But I'm going to talk about that a little bit too, Looper, for sure. The whole part of the update. But let's get into the important part here. So this is the thing, man, because this update was a big deal for Gran Turismo, in my opinion, because it introduced a brand new dynamic to it. It brought some new life. it reinvigorated some of the old things that were in the game. It redesigned the UI to be like much better. I actually like the UI way more now. Although it's mostly the same, they just kind of cleaned it up a little bit and they tidied it up a little bit to make it a little less confusing and a little bit more easy to access. But I'm with you on one a lot. But so let's get into this update, guys. I'm going to break down just a couple parts of it, and then I'm going to tell you here, for those who don't know, don't have any goals in Gran Turismo 7. I'm going to share with you some goals, and by goals I mean cars that you maybe, and vehicles that you want to get and go experience. Here we go. Let's go ahead and roll the clips, baby. So first and foremost, of course, the flashy new addition is the snow tracks here, man. And I've arranged this video. I've recorded a bunch of footage to show off to you today while we talk about it, break it down. But there's of course the snow tracks, and let me just say, man, I absolutely love the snow tracks. Now, Gran Turismo has always been popular for its track races, its street races, things like that. This is of course some footage of, there was a little bit of time trials. Now this is actually in action. There was somebody, and please tell me who you were, because I can't remember. I meant to make a note of that before the show. I apologize, but they told me, oh, you got to get the X-Bow. Go get the KTM X-Bow, which in particular, particularly I like the cars. I really enjoy driving the cars that don't have like a roof or like, you know, convertibles, things like that. Ones where you're a little bit more exposed. I first started enjoying this a lot with the go-kart in the game originally. I'm gonna rewind this a little bit here, because I'm not done talking about the snow levels here. Where is play? There we go. But guys, yeah, this is the snow at night. So this is part of the redesigned menu where you can go into the quick menu now and you can choose the track, the layout, and then you can choose what time of day. I highly recommend, just like somebody told me to do, get the X-Bow, the KTM X-Bow, go to the track. I like to warm up with the reverse oval, what is it, like the reverse oval, tri-oval something, with this one, with Lake Louise, which is in the Americas, in the Canada region. Go drive this car around in this thing. It is beautiful. Last time I didn't spoil the nighttime. Well, it's been a lot of time now, so I'm spoiling it now. But man, at night it looks absolutely gorgeous. All Yar's history says GT7 is on sale, 38% off on the EU region, I'm guessing. But yeah, go get the KTM X-Bow. You got to experience this. Now, another thing you got to experience is this Bugatti VGT. This thing is absolutely nuts. And for the first time, I played a level in the rain, like heavy rain. Well, actually, no, it wasn't the first time, but it was definitely the first time like this. The Bugatti VGT is, excuse me, absolutely amazing. This thing is nuts to drive. This thing is absolutely nuts. I love the little monitor that it has. This video is not working out the way I wanted it to. It's moving too fast for me. I didn't think I'd be staying on these things too long. Here we got to look at the Sophie AI, man. And this is really interesting. So the Sophie is the artificial intelligence drivers that they've added to the game. One thing I like about it is it does, I've said this before, but it feels like they kind of sense your presence. Like they do kind of react to you. There was something that was really interesting that I found. So first of all, this nuts was race. The car that I'm riding in is the Honda 2 and 4 powered by RC213V. It is a Honda car. But check this out. Right here, I'm driving. I get clipped by the car, and I look over, and it makes a sad face. Now, I don't know if that was intentional or not. But I've been hearing lots of people say lots of things about Sophie, how cool it is, and whatnot. That was most of the time you get up behind Sophie, it makes these Google AI pictures, faces at you. And if you get close to it, it gets like an angry face at you or whatever. But that was something right there that just occurred that I thought was really, really interesting. The Sophie car hit me. Now it's a unspoken rule kind of that, like in Gran Turismo, you don't try to hit everything. You don't want to run into everything. You really don't. It's just better. First of all, you get a clean race bonus if you don't. So that's the reason I don't like to do it. I try not to. Of course, driving a lot of these new cars, I don't know what I'm doing, and so I do crash a little bit into them and stuff. But I thought it was really interesting that the Sophie AI car hit me off the road and made a sad face. Let me just say, if that was Sophie feeling sad that it wrecked me, like if it was feeling sorry that it wrecked me off the course, then that is some really cool shit right there. That is really, really cool that if it could detect that, like, it was at fault and it felt bad and got sad, made a little frowny face. That would be pretty amazing. Maybe that's just a small little example of the Sophie AI, but I like it overall, man. The Sophie AI is really, really cool overall. And it is challenging. It becomes more and more challenging the more you play against it, it seems. And yeah, I like it so far. I wasn't so sure what to think at first. Like, the only difference I saw at first was that it kind of noticed me. Like, it just felt like it was aware of my presence. And that's kind of the only thing. But to actually have some interactive elements with it makes it a little bit cooler. Snacks and Please says it was mocking you. Some of them were mocking you. If you crash, they do laugh at you and they smile at you or whatever. But here's the thing, man. So this game, there was part of this update was it introduced a bit of a problem for Polyphony Digital as well as some other people. Not for me, because the thing is that my favorite part about Gran Turismo is I just enjoy driving the cars and the experience that each one kind of delivers. This level, by the way, is absolutely beautiful. These mountains here. I really, really just like being immersed and in this game. And I'm gonna say it right now. I think Gran Turismo 7 might be the most immersive VR game I have ever played in my life. I think this is the most immersive game I've ever played, hands down. It is unreal how immersive and fun this is, and just how amazing it is. But so, as Stingray points out in the chat, what I meant, there is so I'm going to use Stingray as an example. There is an exploit, we'll call it. It's not really a glitch because the game is actually programmed this thing. It maybe was an oversight or something by the developers. There's basically a method to where it's not super easy to do, but once you have it unlocked, it's easy, but you have to do some work to get there first. And there is a method. Now, I understand if you're like totally against this or one of the purists. I'm not a purist. I just play this game for fun. I can see this being problematic for those that are like really obsessed with like the pure, like actually believing they're, real race car drivers and like wanting to do everything the proper way. But I think at the end of the day, man, video games are just, they're meant to have, they're meant to be fun. So have fun with your video game. Enjoy your video games however you like. The problem I could see is that, it's a little unfair to maybe those that play competitively online. That's where I'm like, okay, but I don't play competitive online. I just play and race against AI, and that's basically it. One of the new games, one of the new cars in the game. So this game, probably one of my only kind of critiques on it is like the grind can be kind of a lot in this game. That's one of the turnoffs for me, is like at some point I got really tired of just grinding the same levels over and over, trying to get the biggest payouts. So when this method came, I was like, well, this is basically the same thing, but I just don't have to do anything now, which is nice. But here's the thing. So this brought about somewhat of a revelation to me, and I have the reason I'm doing this show about this is because it offered me a new perspective on Gran Turismo 7, because there's a lot of like unknowns for me in the previously. There's a lot of stuff because I didn't have the time, especially covering every VR game that comes out, and trying to keep up with all that stuff. It's very difficult. I don't get many opportunities anymore to just really spend lots of time with the games I enjoy. A lot of times I got to be, reviewing something else or whatever. But the timing was perfect, because this week we had Colossal Cave come out, and then like Drunken Bar Fight, and then some waifu simulator thing that apparently Miles streamed earlier. This was like, okay, I don't really care about those. I do want to check out Colossal Cave at some point. I don't care about the other ones that much. But I was like, this is the time. Like, this is the only window of time, free time I have to try and do this. And if I can pull this off, it'd be great with my tight schedule. But yeah, so this offers an easier way to make money, basically. And yeah, that's a problem that Polyphony Digital have already addressed it, said that they're going to patch it. But it's been there for quite some time. I actually let it go for like a week, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I don't really care. I'll just, I'm not in any rush. Well, then a week goes by and they still haven't patched it. And I'm like, okay, I've got a little bit of free time. Maybe I can. And surely enough, I did. And so like, I noticed that there's stuff in the game. What makes this game a little bit daunting is the amount of cars. Like you want to drive the cars that you enjoy most, but you don't know really which ones those are. And that's the part that becomes kind of daunting, is like you have to kind of figure out what cars you enjoy the most or whatnot. I know nothing about half these cars. Like these like high performance, crazy, exotic race cars stuff. Like I don't know anything about in that realm. I know basic cars, but and then like some muscle car knowledge and some sports cars, but not much. I am not a racing enthusiast until now, at least. But there's a car in the game that's on the thumbnail that is 20 million credits. 20 million credits. Now it takes a long time. It takes a bit of grinding just to get like 1 million credits. And what I did was I said, I want to do this for science, man. I want to do this for science so that I can do this, so that you don't have to, or at least if you do, I can kind of guide you on what to do, because I had no idea what I was doing. I was just gaining money and was going to spend it all and figure it all out later. What is the best way to play this game, to approach this game, to spend your money? So I bought the $20 million car, which was like a Shelby Cobra Daytona 5 series or something. It gives you a little bit of info, and it says there's like only 6 in the world were developed. It's basically the same as the Shelby Cobra, which I got by normal means. It's basically the same as the Shelby Cobra, but it's the Daytona version that was designed for, I think, the Le Mans, to be able to compete in the Le Mans race. And it made me realize something, is that, so to get to collector level 50, which is something you have to do in order to do this trick properly, you have to spend money, right? You have to buy more and more cars. You have to spend more money on expensive cars or whatever, and you have to spend a certain amount to gain collector's level. And they've of course got this very drawn out. It's very grindy. It takes a long time. And again, that's what makes it difficult to grind in this game when you don't know what the cars that you want are. Well, I purchased the $20 million car, and it made me realize something. It made me realize I'm like, because if you can buy microtransactions in this game, they're $20 for like 2 million credits or something. This thing was 20 million credits, which is $200. $200 for this if you want to skip the grind and get this. But it made me realize something about Gran Turismo. At first I was like, oh man, like they really just do this to like sucker you and make it, you know, they make you just pay the money, make those who have the money or that are dumb enough to buy the microtransactions and buy this car. But it made me realize something. That car it's not the best car in the game. It's, you know, you're spending 20 million credits as a collector's item, as if like you're so passionate that you feel like you have to have this car just because of how rare it is. That's what that vehicle is, because I drove it, and it, like I said, it's not the fastest, it's not the best. It's, you know, it looks nice or whatever, it sounds nice or whatever, it feels good. But it's no different than most of the other things. In fact, I don't like it as much as the regular Cobra, because that at least has a convertible and is, you know, in VR, that just is really, really immersive. So it kind of made me realize something, that upon doing this, you see the cars that I'm driving right now in this video footage, all of these cars that I unlocked along the way to get to level 50, I actually like these way more than what, you know, like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just experimenting, doing this for science, just to know, right? There's a look at the car right there, actually. But what I realized is that I like a lot of different cars in this game, and a lot of my favorites, a lot of the most fun, are not actually that expensive. Yes, they're in like the million. I'd say they're within the million to like 4 million range, which is actually very doable if you're doing it the honest, pure way of just grinding the game and just casually playing and unlocking. A lot of my favorite cars so far have been the ones that are actually a lot more accessible than that 20 million credit collector's piece. Which is all that is, man. That's all that it is. So I thought that was really, really interesting. And because I was like, you know, I'm like, oh, it's the $20 million car. There's got to be something really special about it. And it's like, there's like a special history behind the car. There's obviously, you know, it's got some nice things about it, but no, like at the end of the day, it's like, something that is so unobtainable is really just a, hey, I have this piece, more than it is like I enjoy driving this or whatever. Dude, this thing right here, look, this is something I got along the way. You're like front first in this vehicle. This is the Chaparral 2X VGT. This thing, guys, this is what you need to go and get. In fact, you need to go get all of the cars from this video. I will maybe leave a comment below and let you know all my favorites so far. Hell, I'll even maybe do a video on all my favorite cars. But this thing right here, this Chaparral 2X VGT, I think this thing was only 1 million credits. And like, that's like, compared to a lot of the stuff in the game, like that's like really not that much. And this thing is wicked fast, crazy to play in VR because you're so exposed. It's got some weird camera stuff going on there, but it makes some weird snapping noises. I have no idea what the heck this thing is, but it was super cool. But yeah, man, Casanova, I got you, man. I'll go ahead and name them now. If you got a pen and paper ready, I'll go ahead. You want the KTM X-Bow for the snow at night levels. You want the Bugatti VGT, which is just absolutely sick. Let me restart this thing. I'll point them out as they I'll point them out as they, there we go, as they pop up here. This is the X-Bow. But it was, man, oh, Chrome Colossus's reflections in the panels are really cool too. Yeah, man, this game. So like this game, man, this game overall, like I said, like I don't think, you know, the graphics are not perfect, right? They're very, very good. It has amazing lighting, shadows, reflections, lots of different special effects. Sometimes the special effects, sometimes the stuff, especially when there's more of it, it handles some levels better than others. But take a look, I mean, look at the lighting and everything here, the color, the lighting, the reflection. It is absolutely gorgeous, man. This game, and again, you know, in the headset, it looks really good. Sometimes it's not perfect. Sometimes there'll be like dirt kicking up and you'll see some like kind of like compression happening around it a little bit. Sometimes the snow. This is the X-Bow, by the way, the KTM X-Bow. Highly recommend taking this car, but look at the lighting on the surface of the car, on the track. Even those, like, you know, you can see some of that snow and stuff kicking up from the other cars. That's still, even when it doesn't look crystal clear with those special effects and stuff, it still does enough for the immersion that looks pretty amazing. And this game is just so thoroughly impressive with its immersion. Like I said, I think this is the most immersive VR game ever made, hands down. After playing these, unlocking these new vehicles. So this is, guys, this is the other car you need. You need the Bugatti VGT right here. Not only is it really fun to drive, but holy shit, that little periscope, like you're in a freaking submarine or whatever, the little monitor there is so sick. Being in the cockpit of this vehicle is so amazing. And by the way, the rain courses are also really nice. I think this footage is all kind of random. This might have been before I put my heavy wets on the thing. But dude, this vehicle is absolutely one that you need. And then next we've got this one. This is the Honda 2 and 4 powered by RC 213V. This thing is so cool. This is what I highly recommend you guys do. Go get all these cars. If you want to grind for something, grind for all these cars that I'm talking about here. Forget about the 20 million credit thing that is like unobtainable. It is nice, but it is like unobtainable unless you want to spend your entire life in Gran Turismo. But these are very, very obtainable vehicles here. And being in VR, the level of immersion, especially with a fan on you, is just absolutely mind melting. And then go play this track, play against the Sophie AI. And dude, I was just having the most immersive experience in my life, trying out all this stuff. Oh, this is where the AI takes me out again and then becomes sad for it, which is so cool. Dirty Yella. Yes, there's police chasers. No, there's not police chases, but here's another thing. Now this might be a strange one. This is the Hermetic van. Funnily enough, I just got these and I was like, oh, what the heck? Let me try this out. Guys, even the freaking vans are super cool. They're really slow, but I'm driving in this paramedic van, this like Japanese paramedic van. There's like hand sanitizer. There's like plastic gloves. And I'm looking around and I'm whooping the other car's asses, by the way. But it's a little bit slower paced. It's such a different experience. It's so nice though, man. It's so nice and beautiful. This one is the Chaparral 2X VGT. Guys, if you want besides the Tomahawk, the Dodge Tomahawk VGX, I think it is, SRT VGX. This is the other fastest vehicle that I've played in, but this is the difference, is that this one is you're like open, like you're like exposed, and you're in the front of the vehicle. It's like basically driving in a rocket head first. Like right there, I'd be freaking dead. I'd be splat if that was real. But dude, you've got to get this thing. CHAPARRAL is the company. You have got to get in this thing. Strap yourself to this head first rocket and go try this thing out, because holy shit, what an experience, man. But so overall, guys, I just thought, you know, this game, despite this, you know, all this stuff happening, Polyphony Digital's probably not very happy about the situation, because it's probably costing them some microtransactions. But I think they need to relax, because at the end of the day, I firmly believe, because of the effect that this has had on me, it's probably happening to lots of other people. It's been amazing. This update has really opened up new life to this game for me. Honestly, the snow tracks might be my favorite. They're probably the least relevant thing in Gran Turismo, besides the dirt tracks. But the snow tracks might be my favorite thing to go out and cruise and drive around. And it's such a bumpy ride. But this update, man, you know, I'm done doing the thing. I don't do the thing anymore. I got the $20 million car to figure out what's so special with it. And, you know, perhaps that's on me a little bit. Maybe a lot of you already knew this already, that, oh, that's just a collector's item. I didn't know what was going to happen when I got all this money and spent it all. So I wanted to share with you today what happened. And really what happened was that I realized that Gran Turismo 7, as amazing as it is, it's even better than I thought it was. It's hard when you don't have any direction with this game, when you don't know what you're grinding for, when you don't know what you're aiming for to do. Of course, it's to unlock cars, but what cars? All of these cars that I just listed here are some really, really good ones. I'll leave a comment after the video of all the cars for you to check out. But this game, guys, is truly, truly incredible. And an absolute killer app, and apparently is on sale. So starting tomorrow for some of us. So if you don't have it, you have got to get it. All right, guys. I think, but I'm a huge fan of the Spec 2 update. I think even though I was far from finished with Gran Turismo 7, this still brought new life into the game, to the point to where it cannot be ignored anymore. I was like, okay, I've covered enough other stuff. Sorry, Colossal Cave. Sorry, Drunken Bar Fight. Sorry, Waifu Simulator thing. I've got to spend all my time on this and see what it's all about. See what this game truly offers. And it is a masterpiece, man. It is a masterpiece. Not perfect in every single way. Not perfect. Still a masterpiece. Like I said, sometimes there'll be some graphical things here and there. Despite it looking amazing and being some of the most impressive graphics I've seen in VR, period. Of course, like there'll be like occasional pop in when there's like a tree heavies area. Sometimes there's no pop in. It's really, sometimes it matters the time of day, like, and whatnot. So it's really, you'll never really know where the little tiny imperfections come from, but luckily that's all they are imperfections for an otherwise perfect game. Amazing. Mind blown. So good, man. Well, felt good to talk about that. Dude, Piotrek F, I'm so glad you mentioned this. Thank you. Thank you so much. I have failed to mention this every single time I talk about Gran Turismo. The weekly challenges are also really great. They give you a nice, like pretty nice reward. They give you like 200,000 credits. They give you a roulette card, which again, you know, the roulette system is like so occasionally it'll give you something nice, but 90% of the time it gives you shit. I even tested it right before the show, and it was like $1 million, amazing car, and then like 100,000 gold bar, and it gave me the 100,000 gold bar, and I was like, yeah, I saw that coming. But it has, to be fair, it has given me 1 million credits before, and it has given me some nice rare cars. So it's just that. That's how they get you, right, Jew? That's how they get you. So it's been a really, really wonderful experience playing this over the last week or two. It's been wonderful, man, and it is just an absolute must-have title. Amazing. But yeah, thank you, Pietrek F. Weekly challenges rock. That is a great way to give you incentive, to incentivize you to jump in each and every week, because they don't take that long to complete. I think it takes usually just, I mean, depending on your skill level, typically takes just like an hour, maybe two, to complete those. I've finished those pretty quickly, so just fun. Oh, Scott, you're a 10 out of 10 guy. Prize cars also help towards collection level, but Vince Virtuo says the only thing I don't like about GT7 is always online required. When servers eventually go down, so does like 85% of the game. I think they'll be able to patch this game to like, I don't know. The thing is, I don't play multiplayer and I don't do like, a lot of stuff. Here's the thing, man. There's a lot of talk. People always talk about this always online thing, and yes, there are some drawbacks to it, of course. But when people talked about Firewall Ultra being a problem that it was always online, I played that game for 4 years. 4 years I played that game. I don't need to really play it anymore, or like, I don't know, man. I get it. Game preservation, things like that, they're super important. I'm not talking against that, but I definitely wouldn't avoid a game just because it's always online, because guess what? Then you'll never get to play it. So what's the point of even caring? If you're going to avoid playing a game that it's always online just because it's always online and might be gone one day, then just don't play it and just forget about it. Because what's the point? What's the point if you're not going to play it anyways? But anyways, guys, anything else on GT7 before we get to the other headline here? Lots of you guys. Scott says, I don't drive in real life, but playing GT7 in VR with a wheel and pedals is so much fun, and the nearest I'll ever get to being behind a wheel, so much fun. Scott, I don't drive manual in real life. First of all, 6% of cars on the market are manual. They're kind of hard to find. But secondly, yeah, my main car is not a manual, so this has been really fun. I have switched to 100% manual driving in Gran Turismo, and I highly recommend you do as well. Even if you don't know how to drive manual, it's a lot of muscle memory. It's kind of like learning guitar or something. You want to know some basic things, but here's a good practice tip for those who can't drive manual. This is what I did. Drive the car with automatic transmission. Drive your favorite cars. Every car is like, most cars are different too, so they're going to be different. When you're driving, pay attention to what the automatic shifting is going on. When it changes gears with the automatic thing, pay attention to when it's doing that, and compare it to like your driving style, and then you'll kind of figure it out, right? That's at least will help you, nudge you in the right direction for driving manual. But driving manual is also an absolute must for this game. It's tons of fun automatic, but it is way more fun manual. To me, it's like the difference between button presses and manual reloading. It's like, I gotta have that. And I started off playing, I was a little intimidated by these cars driving manual at first, even with some manual experience. In real life, I didn't know how to drive any of these things, but I have completely converted and have to do that now. Rob Axel says, can't compare learning guitar to driving stick, bro. Muscle memory, baby. Muscle memory. Oh, man. Oh, Steve Irie says manual with what? Flappy pedal? Yeah, I've only got the paddle shifters on the wheel. I don't have my stick shift yet. I do have the T150 Pro though. So I do have the clutch pedal, which is nice. So I'm gonna have to do that. A Dizzle says, as a guy without loads of money, GT7 is amazing to race cars you want to own. Yeah, I just think just the experience of experiencing all these different cars, the amount of detail and the authenticity that they put. I mean, Kazuhiro Yamauchi which is, I think, the first time I've ever said his name properly. He is clearly a racing and vehicle car enthusiast. I mean, and it shows. This dude, and I mean, almost to a fault in the way this game is designed. This game tries to be so authentic and everything, but no, it is not a fault. It is by far from it. It is amazing how just like rich in detail and physics and production value and, like I said, you know, authenticity, real vehicles and stuff, down to the piston and the screws and the graphics. Oh my God, they're gorgeous, man. It's a really, really impressive game. It is definitely a true life like driving simulator. But it's, what I love about it is that it is definitely a racing sim, but it's one that's very accessible to people that are not racing enthusiasts like myself, like a lot of you guys. I think it's pretty amazing, man. So incredible game, incredible update. I'm so happy about it, and it's where all my free time goes now, until the next No Man's Sky update. But it's amazing, man. This update is great. You know, if don't worry about the $20 million car, go get the ones that I mentioned. I'll leave a link. I'll leave a comment down below, or share in the Discord. Make sure you join our Discord, which ones I highly recommend for VR that are amazing, but absolutely insane, man. All right, before we get on to the next topic, man, some quick donations. Thank you so much for your guys' support as always. I really, really appreciate you keeping the lights on here and keeping the content coming. Now that I should have a little bit more time to do some more live streams soon, now that I've gotten this Gran Turismo thing out of the way, sort of. I'm still gonna be playing it a bunch, but it says MRI Gamer, thank you so much, my friend. It says GT7 is $30 at Target for Black Friday, November 19th. So you can get Gran Turismo 7 at Target on Black Friday. It might be online, you know, unless if you want a physical copy, I guess that's cool. Killer Cell, baby, in the house tonight. Thank you so much for the donation. Appreciate you, dude. Gave me 2 donations, and he's got one with a fox giving a thumbs up, a cute little fox, and then another one is like a super lemon I love it. Never change, Killer Cell. Respect. But yeah, man, super cool. I do. Game Cat Chicago. I think it's a fair assessment to say I like Gran Turismo 7. This is true. That is accurate. Okay, guys, it is time to get into our final topic of the late evening. Shapeshifter, shout out to Shapeshifter real quick. The amorphous game cat says totally immersed in Vampire right now. Nice. Love to hear it, man. I love to hear when people don't have bugs with that game, which some people don't. I don't know. I just felt like at launch, I felt like I only heard the people that had bugs. And I'm like, where's all the people that aren't having bugs? It turns out they were just playing the game, which is why I didn't hear from them for a minute. But then I eventually did. Like Shapeshifter here, I did enjoy Vampire Masquerade Justice. Thought it was really good. High 8s. Very, very, maybe I bring it down because of the bugs and stuff. I'll bring it back down to that 8.9. I was going to give it a 9 out of 10 because of the price. But I think 8.9 is fair. I think it's very, very good. What up, Natty? What's up? Kill Sal, baby. Another donation. Thank you so much, my friend. Yeah, I do want to see more racing games come to VR, especially having a wheel and stuff. You don't really need more than Gran Turismo, which is what I like about Gran Turismo. But you know, it would be nice. It would be nice to get, you know, I do want a couple variations. I would love a new Wipeout. I would love like a premium, really high quality kart racer, because I do like kart racers, but only good ones. I don't like any kart racer. And then yeah, some arcade racing games would be great too. I don't remember the last arcade thing. MotorStorm, man. Let's get some MotorStorm going. Some epic MotorStorm, some Blur for the 5 people that played Blur, some Apocalypse Rider. I think that's what it was called. the two people that played it. Oh yeah, Dirt Rally, of course, was great. Yeah. Yeah, okay, I take that back. We need more racing games. But if there was only going to be one game, one racing game to rule them all, it is definitely Gran Turismo. At least right now. All right, guys. So the last topic of the evening is the Game Awards are coming very, very soon in December. And yeah, man, this is, of course, the big event. It's been gaining more and more popularity over the years. Loads of people tune in, millions, in fact, each and every year to witness lots of games announcements because nobody cares about the actual awards itself. Now, I like awards. You know, I think some award stuff is cool. I'm not like emotionally invested, but of course, when it comes to PSVR, I love to see PSVR2 representing. And boy, oh boy, is PSVR2 representing this year, because we have the official Best AR and VR nominees, and there's no AR, and there's no anything else other than PSVR2. So let's take this in reverse real quick. So first and foremost, the what was it? The Golden Joysticks Awards were recently happened or whatever, and you know, I was a little disappointed. This is the first thing that strikes me here, is that I'm so glad that Gran Turismo 7 and Resident Evil Village VR mode are included. If you don't think that a flat game having built from the ground up VR mechanics doesn't count as an actual VR game, you're a fucking moron. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. But that absolutely not only counts as a VR game, but I would say the majority of gamers want these games converted to VR, into VR modes. That is like literally the dream. If people had to choose between built for VR only games, like VR only games or whatnot, that are just there to show off the technology or whatever, that's not what's going to make VR take off, or that's not what makes VR successful. If so, VR would be much more successful than it is right now, because that's the majority of what we're getting. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying those are bad things. Those are the, you know, in fact, I give mad props to a lot of developers out there, you know, going by their own rules, making their own games and experiences that they want to make, built from the ground up, only in something that can only be achieved in VR. Here's the reality, though. The reality is that if you want to get gamers on board, which is basically the mainstream of VR people, are the gamers, you have to have old IPs, popular IPs, or games that people are currently playing on their... If you want to entice people the most, take the hundreds of millions of people playing games on their phones, playing games on their Xboxes, their PlayStations, their Nintendos, their Quests, or well, I guess Quest doesn't count because it is VR, but all those things, platforms, PC platforms, and convert those games to VR. That is how VR is going to find the most success with as a critical reception wise, with the audience, I should say. Maybe some of the tech people, you know, they're going to nitpick every last little thing. Oh, it doesn't have, oh, you can't touch the plant. Well, at the end of the day, man, what I love about you guys, what I love about our community is like we weren't like into VR before all this. Like, I mean, maybe some of you were. Myself, I didn't really care about, it wasn't VR that got me interested in VR. It was playing my favorite games and IPs and my PlayStation games in VR is what made me go, oh, I need to go buy this thing. the genres that I like, the IPs that I like. This is what I wanted when I jumped into VR. When you know, I was on the fence on it. I was like, should I get this? I don't know. Am I gonna regret this? I got the freaking PS3 iToy and it burned me. There was like one game for it, and so I gave PSVR a little bit of time. And I was like, ooh, okay, this Rush of Blood game looks amazing. Oh my God, Resident Evil 7. Are you kidding me? This is playable. And then it's like Skyrim. And I was like, they're committed, and so am I. Because that is like, you know, at least in terms of like a mainstream level system seller killer app, mainstream game or whatever. I was like, when they announced Skyrim for PSVR, I was like, sold. Like I'm jumping in. Like this is not another PS3 iToy situation where I'm gonna have like one or two games that work with it, and then like, you know, maybe get some stuff from now on. Like, you know, there was like Killzone, Mag, Resistance 3. I love those games. Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles HD. I love those. But it was like, I mean, it was just a couple games, right? Loved them, but just a couple games. Also, shout out to House of the Dead Overkill. But yeah, so this is like really, and this is what I think gets like lost sometimes, is like people are like, I don't know what it is, if they're just being contrarians or whatnot, or maybe they just don't know. I don't know what it is, but like, it's like, yeah, like what excites people about VR is getting to play these games that they've enjoyed their entire life in a new medium, in a new way, getting to play Gran Turismo in VR, getting to play Resident Evil Village in VR. Not to say that they're, you know, of course the other stuff is really really important stuff that is, you know, all about the tech, showcasing the tech and whatnot. But at the end of the day, what our community likes, what I like, are games. Like, I like meaty, big games. So sometimes some of the games I like, they're not like perfect. Like sometimes they use reprojection, or like Resident Evil Village and Gran Turismo 7. Sometimes, you know, there's little imperfections here and there. I'm not Digital Foundry. I'm a fucking gamer, and I enjoy big ass fun video games. So like, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, my rant about that, I think you guys get the point here. You guys get the point. You already know. I don't even need to explain to you. I don't know why I'm explaining to you. Maliki King. I'm going to interrupt this real quick with some interesting news here. Maliki King says Unity just announced huge support for VR, including PSVR2, at today's live stream. Things looking good for PSVR2. Nice, because Unity needs a little bit better support for PSVR2. There's still some good Unity games on PSVR2. I've played several that are great, in fact, but it definitely needs to be retooled. And I did see them announce that. I did see Unity actually announce that they have the Unity 6, I think is what it's coming. And this comes after, I think, the CEO stepped down after they did that just like overnight change of policy where they're suddenly going to start charging developers like after they sell like I think it's like after you sell like 100,000 units or 200,000 units, or you something like that, make that amount of money, then they start taking like a percentage out, and developers were outraged. I mean, there was no heads up for this. And then the CEO of Unity actually self-terminated after this, and rightfully so. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, that was a shitty move. Definitely a bad decision. So I definitely have no problem with that. But yeah, man, thank you, Maliki King. It's glad to know that they actually said that there's going to be some specific PSVR2 support, likely going to be better use of eye tracking and foveated rendering and tracking in general. And you know, a lot of this other stuff. But yeah, because there's definitely been some technical issues that developers have struggled with when it comes to developing PSVR2 games on Unity, where they've had struggles getting the eye tracking, foveated rendering working, things like that. Kill Cell, baby, thank you so much for the donation again and the support. Really, really appreciate your support, man, and all these lovely people down here that support on Patreon, patreon.com/PSVR2 PSVR Underground, and all of you just hanging out today, having a good time. That's what's up. That's what it's all about, baby. Can you believe we are halfway through November? What the fuck? I am cussing a lot on today's episode. How are we already halfway through November? You know what? It doesn't matter because ain't shit dropping in November right now. So let's just go ahead and just get November out of the way as soon as possible. Let's hit up the Black Friday sale starting tomorrow. Get our games on sale. That's what November is good for. Not necessarily new releases, but games on sale. So there is a silver lining here. He says, when I saw the booths in the mall back in the day, I knew VR would be a thing. I visited one of those booths and it wasn't very good. I didn't think VR was going to be a thing until I saw it integrated with video games. That's when I was like, okay, there's an actual reason to use VR now. Of course, there's some other stuff, maybe like some simulation stuff and, maybe some practices that can, I mean, they did this with video games back in the day. Twisted Metal was originally supposed to be it was designed from guys that did like a combat simulator, like for like war, like for like the army or something. Anyways, I'm jumping from topic to topic here. Guys, let's get to the other headline here. Okay. That was my huge rant about why VR is special, or why I appreciate Resident Evil Village and Gran Turismo 7 being here. So first off, we've got Synapse, which is by Dreams. Now, this game definitely is I think it's a pretty worthy addition. It wouldn't be my first pick, but this thing has all the right stuff culminating. It's got David Hayter. It's made by Dreams. It's super polished. It's got a cool theme to it. It's also got some great like feel good magic with it, with the telekinesis. So, I'm okay with this one. I think Synapse, for me to actually be able to win Game of the Year, Synapse would have to it would have to have way more content, like be a way deeper game, with better balancing, better progression, more variety, all the things. The game has 4 enemies and a story that is like really told in voiceovers, because I don't know, they didn't have the time or budget to actually put like, cutscenes and stuff in there. They squeezed this one out real quick, put like 2 levels in it and called it a day. I mean, it's impressive for what it is, but it is a small game. It is basically an hour game that is stretched out into, if you thought Fract was small, Fract was 3 hours. This is an hour-long game that is stretched out 3 times. It's even smaller than Fract. Next, we've got Resident Evil Village VR mode, which absolutely deserves to be here. Again, part of the dream, part of what we had hoped for, is to see, this is a prime example of what I think a mainstream audience wants to see, which is AAA quality games, AAA quality full length games converted to VR. And by converted, I mean built to feel like they are, like they feel like they're built from the ground up for VR. Is every last little thing in Resident Evil interactive and perfect and has its own physics engine and blah, 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 blah? No, it doesn't matter. It's an amazing, incredible game that looks awesome. Great art style. Also a sequel to Resident Evil 7, which was amazing. But yeah, this is definitely worthy of a Game of the Year. And honestly, for me, it's between this and another one. Next, we've got Humanity. Now, here's the thing, guys. I like Humanity, but I liked Humanity. Like, I don't know about a VR Game of the Year. I would have much rather have seen something like Red Matter 2 that is actually a good showcase of the technology. Again, this is where it gets weird, because I like Humanity. This is definitely a game that is just playable in VR, which is kind of you know, that's what I was talking about earlier, but this one's a little bit different. What I do love about this game is it to me, it's more special for being like a new Intelligent Cube style game. I did really like this game, but not because of its VR-ness. You know, it's a good game though, and I never finished it because it's also really long and puzzly and grindy, and yeah. I would have rather seen Red Matter here. Again, solid game, but a really long puzzle game is not my thing, and I don't know. Oops, wrong clip here. I would definitely go for Saints and Sinners or Red Matter or hell, even Light Brigade. At least I got to give some credit to the Golden Joysticks for putting Light Brigade on there, because I think Light Brigade is probably the biggest hidden gem on the platform, besides maybe Song in the Smoke, or like, I don't know. There's lots of hidden gems. Next, we have Horizon Call of the Mountain. Y'all know how I feel about this. Look, Horizon Call of the Mountain is a solid game. A solid climbing game. It's beautiful. It's like, it really is beautiful. It looks amazing. It has some of the densest like environments. I mean, going out there and like looking across the, you know, gazing across like the mountains and stuff, the scapes, beautiful. Some of the best looking shit I've seen in VR. As a game though, I didn't really, this is the problem that, you know, you either really like Horizon or you don't, or I guess there are some in between. The problem with Horizon for me is that it was not, I didn't have fun with it. I didn't enjoy playing it. I appreciated some of the things it does from a technical level. I actually didn't even really mind the climbing so much as the combat. I think the combat is really, again, you know, if you love Horizon, turn this off for 5 minutes, and then come back in 5 minutes, because while I like Horizon, I think it's incredibly disappointing. I hate the combat system in Horizon. The little ring around the thing. I got really worried. I got really concerned when I saw this, when it was first shown off, and I was like, oh no. Oh no. Like, it doesn't necessarily, I mean, again, this is another example of like, you could have just taken like Horizon and put it in VR and give it some, you know, interactive mechanics. Not everything in the world has to be interactive, but give it enough, and that would have been a system seller. This is the problem with Horizon Call of the Mountain, is it was, you know, it's a bundle game with the console. I don't think it really, I don't think anybody was super impressed. Like, I mean, graphically, yes. But this game is not exactly making PSVR2 fly off the shelves. It's not because of Horizon, if it is. Let's just put it that way. It's a solid title. It's a solid experience. I could not stand the ring fighting stuff. I actually kind of like the climbing, especially towards the end when you start to use like the other mechanics and stuff. I thought they actually did some really cool stuff. I wish you kind of would have got to use that in the beginning, and then game kind of opened up a little bit, did some stealth, did some more combat and stuff. It doesn't have to be open world, but like a little bit more open areas. But I don't think this game was as good as the game, you know, some people might find the game to be. I don't think a game of the year should be disappointing for 50% of the player base. At least 50%. I don't know. But let me tell you, the last game of the year nominee is Gran Turismo 7. Now, this is where things get tricky. So I said earlier, for me personally, this game of the year battle is between two games for me personally. Respect for Synapse, not bad, and these other two. But it is purely between Resident Evil Village and Gran Turismo 7. This is a tough one. This is a very, very tough one because both are exactly what a mainstream gamer audience wants, which is AAA games converted to VR really well. Guys, this is not an easy decision because my favorite, the game that I maybe even like more, possibly, I don't know. At the end of the day, I really feel like Gran Turismo and Resident Evil Village are both 10 out of 10s. But here's the thing. So Resident Evil is amazing. Amazing action adventure from start to finish. But here's the thing. I want to say it doesn't have the staying power, but it does because it's just so fun and it does have stuff you can replay and unlock. It doesn't have trophies, which hurts it. But at the end of the day, guys, if I had to choose one to win this award at this show, it is 100% going to be going to the game that is what I consider, if you heard me earlier, to be the most immersive VR experience I have ever had in my life. On top of that, has content for months. On top of that, gets updated with extra VR content. Has like insane variety. Guys, Gran Turismo 7 needs to win the Game Awards for best VR game of the year. You know why? Because I think Gran Turismo 7 might be the greatest VR game of all time. And if it's the greatest VR game of all time, possibly, especially with a wheel in particular, then I think it has to be game of the year at least. Once Resident Evil 4 comes out, I'm gonna revisit this as to it's gonna be interesting to see Resident Evil 4, which is considered like game of the year, one of the best games of all time, blah blah blah. It's gonna be interesting once. Keep in mind, we're getting that. We're getting that with VR support for the full game. Now we might have another conversation once this comes out with VR mode. It'll be fun to revisit this, but 100%, guys. I think, yeah, and Silver Nexus, this is the thing that bothers me, Silver Nexus, is that this is what bothered me about Jim Ryan. What bothers me about Herman Hulst is they're so cocky with the damn Horizon. Like, I love Horizon. I love those games and everything. They're great. But they decided to push PSVR2 with that over Gran Turismo 7, the highest selling PlayStation IP of all time. And then they come out and they just, weeks before PSVR2 comes out, they go, oh yeah, by the way, PSVR2 supports Gran Turismo 7. You should have been leading with that. Are you crazy, man? So it baffles me. Again, hope more changes are coming because that's just another example of like the stuff that drives me crazy. But anyways, it's crazy to me that this thing didn't get more, they really should have, you could have literally taken everything away, take away everything else and just been like, hey guys, guess what? The very first PlayStation VR2 showcase, Gran Turismo 7, fully playable in VR. Boom. Like, that's all you needed to do. Oh, by the way, No Man's Sky, that's coming once the eye tracking is fixed. But they're clueless, man. It shows you how out of touch they are. And which is the funny part. Oh God, this is turning into just like bashing them. This is not what I wanted, but we're going there. It just shows you how out of touch the situation was from a business standpoint, like knowing what's going to sell the best and everything. Guys, I'm not here to talk about Sony's leadership. They're already on the way out the door, so we don't even know what that's going to look like 6 months from now, something like that. I'm here to talk about the game of the year. is Gran Turismo 7. And it's by this much. It's literally by this much. The only thing that made me, the thing that made me sway to Gran Turismo 7 was all this time after the Spec 2 update, spending all this time with it, loving it, and really getting to explore deeper into the game, which, like I said, for science, it made me, you know, I liked this game, but like really I didn't realize that there's like something for everybody in this game, as much as there is. That's the big surprising part to me, and that's what I think makes it amazing, is this game is accessible to absolutely everybody. Racing fan or not, everything. Of course, I'm talking about with the wheel. Yes, with the wheel, absolutely. But that's how I'm judging this, is with a racing wheel. I will say the motion controls are kind of nice though. The dual sense controls thing, but yeah, man. So I'm rooting for Gran Turismo 7, because it's kind of like, it would be very poetic that a first party PlayStation game, that, you know, is, I mean, they obviously they've had VR in mind for a long time with Gran Turismo. But it would be very, very nice to see like a first party title that is not a built from the ground up for VR game convert to really, you know, just, I just think it's the most immersive thing I've ever played in my life. And at the end of the day, I'm going to keep it at that. It's the most immersive VR game I've ever played in my life. It's not even my favorite game. And I think that it's amazing, dude. It's absolutely amazing. Well, so one last thing before we get out of here, guys. Do we think, here's the thing. PlayStation VR 2 is released last year. I think somebody was talking about, will we see PSVR 2 at the awards show? Well, PSVR 2 is definitely going to be at the awards show, pretty heavily featured, in fact, which makes me wonder if this is setting the stage for a new PlayStation VR 2 announcement. Typically, I would expect Meta to be here, doing their thing. Also, kind of surprised. Well, I guess it was a little too late for Meta to get in and on here. But it is awesome to see all PlayStation VR 2 games. Yes, I would have liked to see Vertigo 2. I think that probably got robbed, even though I haven't played it. Probably some other titles that deserve here, but this is a pretty stellar lineup, all things considered. You know, I'd probably, I'm not necessarily, to me, I'm just happy to see Gran Turismo and Resident Evil Village, because to me, it's between those two that deserve to be there the most, that deserve to win the most. Props to the other games, and there's tons of other games out there, like Red Matter would have been a good one. Maybe because Red Matter came out last year on the Quest, I think. I don't know. Or was it this year? I have no idea. But yeah, man, it'll be really interesting. I'm hoping that we get to see any kind of PSVR 2 game announcement. We don't have, you know, other than we've got Resident Evil 4, which is a big one, a very, very big one. We've got Resident Evil 4 coming this winter. Maybe we'll get a release date for that. But it would be such a pleasant surprise to get a surprise announcement of some games. That's right, Tatum. Crossfire Game of the Year, baby. Crossfire is definitely the biggest, one of the other big hidden gems, I think. I mean, is it a hidden gem? It's not really, but it is an excellent, excellent game. I definitely don't think Crossfire gets as much love as it deserves. It's amazing. Love that game. Vince Virtuous says Astrobot 2024 announcement. Dude, It is. I think PlayStation said it has been like what 3 years since 3 years since Astro's Playroom, the PS5 pack-in title, was launched. I was like, damn, has it been 3 years already? Oh man, time is definitely flying. I definitely thought we would have had a new Astrobot. No, I guess I've been kind of sticking with my guns here. I don't know. I would love I think if we're gonna hear from Astro, I think we're gonna hear no later by next holiday is when we hear. Hopefully they're doing it. If it's just the problem is, guys, is that PlayStation is a mess right now. Like their leadership, there's a lot of people that I know there that, you know, they're the right people that deserve to be there, that should be there. They have a lot of power, but they don't have all the power. Unfortunately, PlayStation's a big company, and a lot of the people in charge right now are a mess. It's an absolute shit show in some places, and that's unfortunate because there's a lot of people that, you know, are doing lots of good things and you know, doing the right things. I mean, you got at least, thank God, Shuhei Yoshida's still there, you know, doing his indies thing. But man, there's definitely you can tell there's a big gap between the last gen and this gen leadership. So I'm really excited to see the changes. The problem with this is that right now there's such a mess that's probably going to cause some delays in some things, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if Jim Ryan has one swan song for the VR community, which I doubt that he does, because he personally, I don't think he gives two shits about VR. I would love for him to see this upcoming Gran Turismo game, man. I mean, I'm sorry, this upcoming Grand Theft Auto game. I would love to see that get VR support. I would love to see Cyberpunk 2077 to get VR support. If I were Sony, that's what I would be doing. Stop investing in these spin-off titles that are just going to disappoint people, that are games that don't live up to the original title that they're based off of. Stop doing this. And go instead spend that 5 million, that 10 million, whatever you're doing to pay for these. Go give that to Cyberpunk to put a VR mode. Go give that to Grand Theft Auto with your not first party. You have a close relationship with Rockstar. There's nothing you could do that would be better for VR as a whole to put VR support for Grand Theft Auto 6. Are they going to do that? I mean, maybe if they do years from now. Am I expecting them to do that? No. I am not expecting. I am expecting them, if they are, to do that well after launch. Like a year or two at least. But I'm not expecting it. I mean, Cyberpunk's been out for a while now. Like I understand in some cases, you know, every case is different. Some cases they need to have the game needs to launch and work and be operational first, and then add VR mode. Like I totally get that. That's totally fine. But I do think you're undercutting some of your VR marketing. Again, I understand that VR is a smaller market, but it's still a growing market. That has a lot of promise, and has a future, and at least you're going to be there, doing some good things once it really starts to, you know, grow a little bit. But yeah, man, Grand Theft Auto, I can't think of anything that would probably sell more than a Grand Theft Auto game in VR, or Cyberpunk. Those would be absolute system sellers. Awesome Tatum says Twisted Metal hybrid. Yeah, there could be. You know, I would laugh or cry. I'd probably cry if they made Twisted Metal one of my favorite IPs of all time, along with like Mega Man, Devil May Cry, Final Fantasy 7 or Final Fantasy, and it would really suck if they gave Twisted Metal to Firesprite, the place that they hired for a VR studio, and there's no VR in it. I'd be like, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? It's worse than we thought. No, man, but we need some, you know, we need a couple. Keep feeding us stuff like this. Keep feeding us stuff like Gran Turismo, like Resident Evil Village, like Resident Evil 4, like No Man's Sky. Keep feeding us these. try to get Grand Theft Auto, try to get Cyberpunk 2077. Hell, get a VR mode in this new Metal Gear Solid remake. You're remaking Metal Gear Solid. Put a VR mode in it. And then give us Astrobot. And then how about some of these PSVR 1 remasters while you're at it? Give us Astrobot 1 remastered. Give us Wipeout remastered, Blood and Truth remastered. These are Sony first-party titles. What are you doing? These are your games. What are you doing, Sony? This is why people don't understand why I get so mad at Sony. Look, I love PlayStation. I love PlayStation VR and PlayStation VR 2. I love it to death. I really do. That's why I've been doing this for 5 goddamn years. But at the same time, you piss me off, Sony. You piss me the heck off sometimes. People are right. You should have these things. If you don't want backwards compatibility, fine. Where is the remaster? Where's the first party remasters? You need to lead by example. This is why I'm glad that changes are coming. Shit like this shows you that they just don't have anybody there in control that gives a shit. So I'm happy. I mean, they are doing some good things, but a lot of those good things were already in the works prior. It's nothing that they did. So anyways, I have ranted enough tonight, you guys, but hopefully you had fun. I sure had fun. I'm not being negative, I promise. I love PlayStation VR. I love my thing, but I gotta be critical on it sometimes. I gotta be critical, not necessarily on it, because it's my baby, but the people in charge of it. If there is such things that exist. I do like to be, as much as I love PlayStation, as much as I love PlayStation VR, I also like to be critical on it, because I think I don't know, I just notice things and I gotta call it out and say this is what I think is going on and whatever. It's a wonderful headset. It has wonderful games, despite it has amazing games. It's got AAA games already in the first year. It's got another AAA game on the way. So yeah, it's good shit, man. It is very, very good. But it could always do better. Anything could always do better. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you hanging out on this lovely Thursday night. Keep your eye out on my Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter at PSVR Underground. A Dizzle, always, man, always be honest. Even if I feel like a jackass the next day and I'm like, why did I say that? I'm critical on myself too. It's not just Sony. I sometimes say shit and I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. Why did I say that? But I just get, I don't know. I get very caught up in my emotions with talking sometimes that I forget to like stay like analytical and stuff. But I'm not I don't know. I'm not like a real journalist or whatever. I'm just like somebody that's just hardcore obsessed with the stuff and has been following it for a very long time and have a lot of good knowledge on it. I went to PSVR school, baby. Graduated with honors. Guys, you have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight. Let's get what are we gonna leave here with before we leave? Let's get some love for Vertigo 2, since you were totally dropped out of the awards and you probably deserve to be there. Some love to Vertigo 2. Guys, you have a wonderful night. Let's cue the Astro and get out of here with some metal tunes. Make sure you join our Discord. Thank you all for your support, man. And yeah, man. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let's go. Oh man, Looper the Underground Game Cat volume says looking forward to volume 50 special. I saw you say, am I going to be doing something for volume 50? Dude, oh, you know what, Looper? Maybe I will. And you know what? Maybe I will. Or I'll just take it away and never do it again like I did with Saturday Night Live stream. I kid. I'm not going to do that. I do plan on doing a couple Saturday Night Live streams here pretty soon. I would love to also do a Saturday Night Live stream with the PSVR 1. That would be a lot of fun. I really want to revisit. I might even start over in Skyrim. But yeah, man, would love to do a special. I've got a special episode for episode 50 planned for you, unless some huge news drops, and that's going to headline. I've got a great idea for a 50th episode Hopefully nothing happens in that time so I can do it. Steve Irie, thank you so much. Para 007, the undercover game cat, thank you. Salvador, you the best, homie. Markio, the sleepless night underground game cat, hello, my friend. Good to see you. Kill a cell, baby. Thank you. 50 questions game. No. Guys, son, fist bump to you. Steve Irie, thank you so much. Chrome Colossus, Blue Jew, the underground game cat. This one. It's how they get you. Melkaya, the soul reaping game cat. Thank you so much, man. Much love to y'all out there too. Old Darth, my dude. SB, Toodle Pip to you. Shapeshifter, the amorphous game cat. Keep sucking that blood, baby. In Vampire the Masquerade Justice. Scott, thank you. DJ Dirty Yella. All of you. Awesome Tatum, my crossfire buddy. Pietrek F, you're awesome, man. Thank you. Fookie Sloth, also awesome. Guys, have a wonderful night. For everyone.